Landscraper murdered while on the job in Linstead. A 53-year-old landscraper was killed while on the job in Victoria District, Linstead, St. Catherine on Wednesday. He is Fitzroy Angus, otherwise called Bog. The police report that about 8:30 a.m., Angus was carrying out landscaping in a yard when he was pounced upon by unknown assailants who shot him repeatedly. A police party which was nearby responded to the explosions. Angus was found in blood suffering from gunshot wounds at the back of a premises. He was assisted to the Linstead Public Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Man charged over death of 86-year-old man. The police have now charged a 38-year-old man in connection with the death of an 86-year-old man who was bludgeoned with a piece of board. Charged with murder is Rajit Minzy, a vendor of Polygon District, Kiwaton, St. Catherine. Minzy, who was said to be mentally ill, was charged. A date is to be set for him to appear in court. Killed was 86-year-old Vincent Lewin of Polygon District. The Linstead police reported that about 10:30 a.m. on Thursday, June 20, Lewin was walking along a roadway in the community when he was hit in his head with a piece of wood. He was assisted to hospital and was admitted in serious condition. The police say Minzy was later arrested when he turned up at hospital seeking treatment for wounds. The police were alerted, and after preliminary inquiries, he was identified as a suspect in the incident. The investigation was upgraded to murder when Lewin succumbed to his injuries on Saturday, June 22nd. Minzy was charged on Wednesday, June 28. Stigma and discrimination towards men suffering from mental health remain barriers to getting treatment. Stigma and discrimination towards men suffering from mental health issues remain barriers to getting treatment. The matter was highlighted during a Twitter forum hosted by the Bellevue Hospital. The forum was held under the theme Men and Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, in recognition of Thursday's observance of PTSD Awareness Day. Among the panelists was clinical psychologist Marlon Simpson, who noted that men with mental health problems have a great fear about feeling weak. He noted that these men are also affected by a feeling of helplessness. He said the solution is being aware of the problem and having the courage to seek help.
For the mere fact that we are Jamaican males, Caribbean males, there's that stigma of seeking mental health or mental health support because of the discrimination that we may face from other men, sometimes from women as well, and just the fear of feeling a sense of weakness as well. So there is that major barrier that persons really experience, especially as males, trying to get the help that they need. So, I mean, it's very difficult for males to seek health in general, much less mental health. So, it's going to be a very challenging component. That leads also to perhaps a feeling of helplessness, a feeling of I can't do what I used to do, and therefore it adds another layer of stress for the individual as well. So these are just some of the factors that we have to bear in mind when dealing with males seeking mental health services. What will other people say? How will other people treat me? What are some of the things that I'm going to experience while I'm seeking these kinds of support? So again, it comes down to men understanding that their mental health is important. So psychoeducation, allowing them to understand the importance of seeking help. Added to that is also the courage to actually go out and seek the help that is needed. Because, I mean, fear alone is enough to prevent persons. But if they can get a quote unquote head start on dealing with some of the issues, then that would be a very positive step for males. But we have to get past the fear of discrimination, the challenges associated with seeking mental health services, and what it represents as well. That is not just something that we need to talk about, it's also something that we need to address as well.
Motive under scrutiny. Two opposition legislators who sued the government over a constitutional amendment to increase the retirement age of the Director of Public Prosecutions (DPP) and the Auditor General are questioning the state's move to appeal the full court's decision if the true purpose of the change was not to keep DPP Paula Llewellyn in office. The government says their purpose in enacting the act was not intended to the term of incumbent DPP. It was to complete the exercise they started in 2011 and to increase retirement age applicable to the office. That is what the judgment does. Why then appeal? King's counsel Michael Hilton asked, noting that it was a reasonable question being asked by the public. The lawmakers have also asked the court to consider why there was a 6-year delay in effecting changes that purportedly should have taken place from 2017. They were effected in a few hours on 2 days of July 2023, noting that the state has given no valid reason for this. However, Hilton, the lead counsel for Peter Bunting and Philip Powell, who are the leaders of the opposition business in the Senate and the House, respectively, urged the Court of Appeals to find that the dominant purpose of the Act was to allow Llewellyn to continue the post and that it constituted an improper purpose. The government last year amended the Constitution, increasing the retirement age of the two public officers from 60 to 65. But following the claim brought by the two opposition members, the full court in April ruled that an amendment was valid but struck down as unconstitutional Section 2 of the amendment, saying that it allowed Llewellyn to choose to continue. In the appeal brought by the state against the decision, the Attorney General has argued that the full court erred in its interpretation of the provision, which they say was to preserve the DPP's right to early retirement. The respondents in the matter, which is being heard in the Court of Appeal before a 3-judge panel led by Justice Jennifer Straw, have, however, brought a counter-appeal asking the court to strike down the amendment and to find that it was done for an improper purpose, that it breached the separation of power principle and circumvented the constitutionally mandated purpose. Continuing his argument, Hilton submitted that the full court ignored certain evidence presented in determining whether the purpose had been improper. He said the court did not acknowledge the evidence about how quickly the amendment was rushed through the parliament following the unexplained 6-year delay. Noting the series of events in the 6 months before the amendment, including the second extension reportedly sought by the DPP, the letter and the Public Service Commission's refusal, Hilton argued that they did not say of all these actions and events were just coincidence. No doubt, the act was also the purpose of extending the age generally, but extending the age of the incumbent DPP was the dominant driving purpose when they act as pushed through Parliament on those 2 days at the end of July 2023, he added. On the separation of power principle, Point Hilton said that the full court did not appreciate or understand the respondent's submission on the issue and that it was not permissible on Section 2.2 of the Act. Likewise, Westminster-style Commonwealth Caribbean state, where the Constitution is the supreme law, he said that in Jamaica each branch of government, the executive, legislative, and judiciary, has constitutionally allocated functions, and the court has jurisdiction to review and invalidate acts of Parliament. Hilton argued that Parliament had arrogated to itself a power that was exercisable under the Constitution only by the executive branch, but which was already expended, given that the DPP was already given an extension. The question the full court was required to answer was whether Parliament, by effectively granting Llewellyn a second extension, infringed on the powers reserved solely for the executive branch, Hilton stated. Similarly, he said the full court had asked itself the wrong question on the issue of whether the amendment had circumvented the constitutionally mandated purpose. The question is not only whether there is evidence that a risk to the independence of the office exists, it is whether, given what has happened in this case, any reasonable doubt in the minds of individuals as to the imperviousness of the body to external factors is precluded, Hilton submitted. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.